Hello, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Be an Amazing Mentor. Today's presenter is Larry Hammond. For your convenience, the slide deck for today's presentation will be available on the CPSHR Consulting website. Please visit cpshr.us to download. The session is also being recorded, and we will post a link to the recording on that same page of our website as soon as it is available. In order to ensure a high quality recording, all attendees are encouraged to mute your microphones. If you have questions for Larry, please enter them in the Q&A panel on the right-hand side of your screen, and we will address the questions at the end of the presentation as time allows. And now, let's get started.
Thank you, Angelique, and good morning, good day, wherever you might be listening from. My name again is Larry Hammond. I will be your facilitator for this class. Be an amazing mentor. You know, mentorship is one of the most fruitful things I think that I've enjoyed in my lifetime, in my career, because whether it's been informal or whether it's been formal, it has always been productive for me. And when you actually set up a mentorship program in your organization and make it really work for you, for your employees, for the people that you want to really expand their knowledge about your organization, it can really be a very powerful thing. So when you're talking about a mentorship program, it is a win for employees as well as employers. It is a win-win situation for both. So some of the benefits of having a mentorship program in your organization allows people to explore and begin to understand the organization at a much higher level. You know, mentors are there to help influence their proteges, their mentees. They are there to actually help them along and guide them through the organization. It helps them familiarize with corporate culture and other protocols. So things that go on in the organization, it actually helps them to make them have a better understanding of what the organization's culture is like, what the protocols are, what people do, what really works in that organization. And this really happens between that relationship between a mentor and the protege or the mentee as it stands. So, you know, I really encourage you to look at that. We're going to talk some more about how we put this together as we go forward. But mentees will gain a perspective from the experienced professionals. So you want to have your program in line so that people can get a variety of experiences. It helps them crystallize long-term development needs. So as the mentorship program is in place, as it's moving forward, as people are involved with the program, you can begin to determine what kinds of long-term development needs do some of the people that are participating in the program actually need. And we'll talk about that in the expanded version of this presentation. How do you do that? How do you make sure that you're addressing all the needs? And as they go forward, what training, what other development aspects need to happen? And that can happen through a relationship between a mentor and a mentee. You want to enhance vital knowledge and skills. So as the program is developed and as the program is going on, you can actually give your mentees more knowledge, help enhance those skills that are going to be crucial to making your organization successful. And you enhance professional relationships. Look, one of the most important aspects of a mentorship program is, and it really has worked for me, I know in my career, where an experienced professional takes you around, lets you know who the movers and shakers are in the organization, actually going up the ladder so that people understand who does what, who actually makes decisions, why decisions may be made, and enhances those professional relationships, which are so important for career development and moving forward. And of course, we want to make sure that one of the most important things is make sure your employees are engaged. And you want to increase employee engagement, and a mentorship program is a good way to do that because it keeps people working with other people in the organization, promoting the organization's culture, and helping that mentee understand how they fit in and how they are actually contributing to the overall success of the organization as a whole. So that's really, really key and very, very important. Let's see here. So One of the things that I feel is very, very important when you are developing a mentorship program in your organization is to make it a part of your organizational culture so that everybody in your organization knows that you have a program, what the goals and objectives are, and that they need to be a part of it and support it along the way. So you want to create a structure for that. You know, there are some mentorship programs and organizations where everybody who is in a management or leadership position is actually asked to be and play a mentorship role. And that's one way to do it. Other ways to do it may be to make sure that you establish certain career coaches and mentors that are designated, that are good for that. Some people do it better than others. You know, being a mentor is not necessarily cut out for everybody, but you want to make sure that you bring people into the program and have them work, be excited about being a mentor, excited about being coaches, and that helps make the structure of having mentorship programs in your organization a part of the culture. So when people come into the organization, they know it. They know that this is what we do. This is how we do business. You want to make sure that you talk to your leaders, get their buy-in, because everybody needs to talk up the program to make sure that it's positive, to make sure that that they are sending the right message to new employees that are coming in, or younger employees, or newer people that are trying to move up in the organization. Make sure that they're doing that. And if you get everybody's buy-in and get their ideas as to how to make the program really, really successful, that's going to be key. We'll talk about that, as I said, in the extended version of this. You want to establish the career coaches, as I mentioned, promote and foster diversity. Mentorship programs are really, really good at that, and making sure you pair people up in the organization with people that can help them move forward. For example, there's a mentorship program at Caterpillar, which some of you all may know is the company that makes those big tractors and earth movers and things like that. And they have a program where they foster diversity so they can bring more women into a more male-dominated organization. And so that program has actually been very, very successful, but it's one way to do that. So if you want to bring people in of different backgrounds, different races, different cultures into the organization, and a mentorship program helps promote that diversity in your organization, which helps the organization grow overall. And you want to be able to invest in training and development. Invest in training and development. Make sure that as a part of your program, you have the right training, the right kind of developmental aspects that help take your mentees from one level to the next level, so that as they're establishing a relationship with their mentor, the mentees also are getting supplemental training and development that helps promote them and helps them to make career choices that will take them and make them leaders in the organization. One of the things as a foundation that you want to look at as you are establishing a mentorship program in your organization and helping people become amazing mentors in the organization is you have to decide, what do you want to accomplish? And we talked about the benefits of having a mentorship program, but every organization is going to be different. So you want to really establish, what do you want to accomplish? We talked about employee engagement. There's much training out there. CPS HR provides training and employee engagement. There are assessments to do that, and you can actually help through your mentorship program, help employees become more engaged and therefore be more of a contributor to the success of the organization. Maybe one of your goals is retaining employees. If you're having an issue, for example, with retaining employees from in your organization and making sure that employees stay on, then that may be a way to do it, because mentorship program is a great selling point, especially for the millennials that are now making up a larger portion of the workforce, because what they want to know is, you know, how they fit in, how they can contribute. And what a mentorship program does is give them the actual foundation so that they understand that they are part of it and they know that they have a future in the organization moving forward. So retaining of employees might be a goal, and you might want to decide to design your program around retention. And retention is, as you know, more about is actually about a lot of different things. So, this is one way to do it. Mentorship programs are key. You also might want to add, to retain employees, you want to look at benefits and compensation and other kinds of things that your organization offers to make sure that it stays very, very, fresh in people's minds, that the employees enjoy what they're doing, that they're engaged, and they are part of the organization going forward, and mentorship helps you do that. You want to attract new talent. So if you're in a position where, maybe a lot of organizations now are going through transitions, a lot of people are retiring maybe, or moving on in the organization, or you want people moving up in the organization, and you want to attract new talent. Mentorship programs are a good way to do that, because as employees come in, as I mentioned, the millennial generation is starting to be the largest part of our workforce. They want to be connected in some way to the organizations that they choose. I happen to have, two young daughters that are in that generation, and they're entering the workforce now. And they really, really want to be connected with the mission, the purpose, what the organization is doing around the world or around the community or whatever that is. And a mentorship program that helps guide them and lead them along is really attractive to bringing new people into your organization. Advancing organizational goals and driving change. Look, we all know that change is one of the hardest things that organizations have to go through. Certainly, this past year has shown us that we have to change sometimes very, very quickly and on a dime, and that things have to happen and people have to step up into leadership roles and be ready to actually be a part of those changes and help keep the organization's goals in focus. And what happens is, if you are designing a mentorship program, you want to make sure that the goals and the mission of the organization are up front. And as the organization may be going through changes, either expected or unexpected changes, those things come into more focus when you have people who are in the organization that are helping people guide. Because change, as we know, can be a very scary kind of time. It can be very disconcerting for a lot of different people in your organization. And a mentorship program helps give foundation to that, so that as these changes are happening, people who are more experienced, who've been around the company longer, can look to a protege and say to them, you know what, we've been through worse. We can do this. This is how this organization has been successful in the past, and this is how it's going to be successful going forward in the future. So those things are very, very important, and are a very, very important part of the design process when you're trying to put together a mentorship program that's going to be successful. Career advancement. Now, obviously, most people want to look at potential career advancements, moving up in the organization, and a mentorship program is really, really key to that, because you can have people not only explore the organization and understand that what the other parts of the organization do, maybe they'll fit in somewhere else that they didn't enter the organization, and they may be better or feel more comfortable in another part. So career advancement gives more of a bird's eye view of what the organization does, what the potentials are, and helps people understand that they have an opportunity to advance their career, and a person who's serving as a mentor can help bring them along to do just that. And you want to create a welcoming culture. Look, when you have a mentorship program and it becomes a part of your organization culture, it makes it a more welcoming corporate culture, because people look at people coming in, or people who are trying to move up in the organization, in a different way. And that makes things really work better and offers a welcoming culture that when people come in, everybody's like, yes, we are here for you. We are here to support you. We are here to do whatever we can to help you succeed. And we are open to listening to you. So that welcoming culture is something that you might want to make sure that becomes a part of your design process when putting together a program. And then we need to talk about succession planning, looking at the future. What's going to happen when people do leave the organization, retire from the organization? The organization grows and we need to expand, for example. And how do we plan for succession? And one of the ways to do that successfully is to have a successful mentoring program where people understand that opportunities come up, they may be ready to step into those leadership roles and be able to help advance the organization in a new way. So this part here I put in, I won't spend a whole lot of time on it, but I think it is important especially when you're designing your program and understanding, because I do believe that this element is key to successful mentorship programs. Recognizing potential versus readiness. I talked to some people before, and they put together mentorship programs, and they're like, okay, well, we want everybody to go through the program, or we want a lot of people to go through the program, and they just put people into, line them up with mentors and have that may not be the best formula for a successful program. You want to look at people who are ready based on the foundations that you decided on and put in place, to make sure that people are ready to do what you're asking them to do. They're ready to step up to the next level if that's what their goal is. They're ready to actually collaborate with others. They're ready to actually establish these relationships. So they need to be interested in having a mentorship relationship. Desired ambitions are good, but they need to be interested in actually working with someone in the organization and making sure that they are ready to actually give their all to be a part of the program and may help make it a success. They are a person who really will listen to constructive feedback. A mentorship program is about having dialogue between people in the organization, and sometimes that means constructive feedback so that they will understand that certain things that they may or may not be doing need to be adjusted. And constructive feedback, they need to be ready for that. If you have people who are not ready to receive constructive feedback and act on it, they may not be the best candidates for a mentorship program. And again, will put your mentorship program in a position where it may not be as successful as you like. So when you're starting these programs for the first time, you want to make sure that they're successful up front. You don't want to start a program, be maybe too ambitious, put the wrong people into place, the wrong people as mentors. When that happens, the program doesn't work as well, it gets a bad reputation, and eventually may not succeed or even fail in the process. So if you start out with a less ambitious program, something that's more focused, that's the way to go. And understanding people's potential readiness is going to be a key way to make sure that you have successes, and people that come out of the program will then talk the program up to others and keep it going and help build on the program as you go forward. People that are committed to growth and exploring new behaviors, those are the people that you want to have in your program. People that have certain skills and willing to develop new skills. People that just, those are the people that you're looking for. People who have a certain level of experience, personal responsibilities that are good for the organization. These are the things that you really want to be focusing on. And remember, doing versus managing are very different. So that's something that a mentorship program is really good at doing, letting people know that, we have to get things done, and how you manage those kinds of things can be facilitated by a good mentor. You want to foster career growth. I think that people like that. A lot of people think the mentorship program is, an automatic road to succession into a leadership role, a supervisory role, a management role. It's not necessarily that. It's not necessarily that. But it can help foster career growth, giving people more opportunities to look at the organization and what they may want to do and contribute to the organization. So you want to create an employee-centric culture. Listen to people. Listen to what they're saying. And encourage regular mentor transformation meetings. That's how you begin to build on a program that's going to actually help you be positive. You encourage mentorships outside of the business. Oftentimes, you can bring people in from other organizations, other parts of the community, other parts, other businesses that can help your mentors grow and learn from an outsider's perspective. And you want to appoint non-line managers sometimes as mentors, because sometimes that helps people understand different parts in the organization, and it opens up a certain dialogue between the mentor and the mentee that may not be able to happen between line managers in your organization. So that's something you might want to consider. Okay, let's get to the crux of this whole thing. We're going to talk about how to be an amazing mentor. And this webinar in the expanded version will go into detail in terms of how to do that. Be an amazing listener. What are the skill sets? How do you do that? How do you communicate better? We're going to have sessions or sections on being a better communicator. How do you show empathy? There's a lot that's been talked about emotional intelligence and that kind of thing. And you may have had some training in those areas, but how do you show empathy and the importance of doing that? And then being knowledgeable, what does that mean and how best can you transfer that knowledge to a protege in your organization? Know the company's histories and traditions. So an amazing mentor understands these things so that they can tell stories. They can begin to share information about the organization and traditions that the organization has had and why those things are important. This helps proteges become a part of the organization in more or less the fabric of the organization. They become woven into it, as well as being just a cog in the wheel, because those things like the tradition and the history help ground them to the organization. And the mentor can go a long way in educating people in those areas that they have. Because again, you can discuss things that are not in the manual, the HR manuals and the other manuals that people have in terms of how to do their jobs. There are other things, as we all know, that our organizations do, that they are part of, that they are actually working with, that are not just in the manual, and a relationship between a mentor and a protege helps do just that. And be prepared to talk about those things, again, that can't be discussed with the manager. We know that sometimes the employee and the manager, there may be things that may be somewhat sensitive. And a experienced mentor can talk to a protege in a way that maybe the supervisor or the manager cannot, and give them insight into how they can address any issues or concerns that they may have. You want to approach each mentorship differently. Everybody's not the same. That is for sure. Everybody is not the same. So you want to approach each one differently. You want to make sure that, it's not a cookie cutter approach. And being an amazing mentor means understanding your proteges and what their needs are, what their aspirations might be, those kinds of things. And we'll talk about that, how you can best do that, and how you set up expectations together. That is so important in constructing one of these programs, because you don't want people to come in and say, I'm in the mentorship program, so I'm automatically going to be promoted to, first line supervisor next year or in 6 months, or whatever the case is. There are expectations, and some of those expectations will be conversations about where we're going, what we're trying to achieve, and what the protege needs to do in order to achieve certain things at certain levels in the organization. So those conversations are extremely important. We want to talk about knowing when to give advice. Knowing when to give advice, knowing how to step into different boundaries in a very positive way, but give advice to mentees that will actually help them and guide them. We want to improve your emotional intelligence as a mentor. You need to understand the aspects of empathy and people, and how your emotional contacts with other people help build relationships. And that's a really, really important part of a mentor-mentee relationship. Don't assume anything. Don't assume anything. Don't assume that, when a mentee comes into your focus and under your tutelage, that they are thinking one way, they may be thinking another way, that they have skills and abilities they may or may not have, that there's some other kind of thing. Like a lot of times I'll find people say, well, this mentorship program is just waiting for somebody to come in and take my job. And that should be something that's set out up front, that this is not a way for people to come in and take someone else's job, unless that's an expectation that might be set up front. Somebody may be planning a retirement. So you want to make sure that people understand that, and that, this is not some sort of way to do that. So that's a conversation we would have regarding it. Talk about mistakes that you make. We all make mistakes. We're all not perfect. And that goes a long way with helping a protege understand that they will probably make mistakes, as we know everybody does, and that you made mistakes and how you dealt with them and how it worked, how it happened, how things happened with you relative to that are really, really good conversations to have. You want to celebrate their achievements. Make sure that you do that and motivate and inspire them. And certainly be the example. Lead by example, and let show them the way as to how to be a good person in the organization, how to establish relationships, how to collaborate, how to in fact be a good leader in this organization, and it will really, really help you in a long way. So with that, I'm ready to open the floor for any questions that you may have, and thank you for your attention. And I really encourage you to look at a mentorship program in your organization as a possible way to do the things that we've talked about today. And I thank you for your time and attention, and please stay safe and have a good weekend. My name is Larry Hammond, and on behalf of CPS HR, thank you for coming to this webinar, and I look forward to you in the mentorship, Being Amazing Mentor program in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry, for that helpful presentation. If anybody is interested in bringing mentorship program training to their agency, you could reach out to the training center. Our email is trainingcenter@cpshr.us. And I will put that in the chat right now, just in case. And if anybody has any questions, we'll be here for a couple more minutes. I'm not seeing anything in the Q&A. It's possible Larry covered everything perfectly. And again, thank you all for joining us, and have a fantastic rest of your Friday and a great weekend.
Thank you.